Welcome to Scale Her Up, the show for female business owners and leaders who want to grow profitable, sustainable businesses without burning out. I'm Dr. Brenda Hector. I'm a business growth specialist helping women develop themselves and their businesses so they can achieve their goals and enjoy the lifestyle they dream of. In each episode, you'll hear inspiring stories, honest conversations, and practical strategies to help you start, grow, or scale your business. If you're new here, hit follow so you don't miss an episode, and come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to keep the conversation going. And the conversation today is with Sonia Schulenberg, who is the CEO and founder of Level E Research. Sonia, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah, tell me what brought you to founding Level E Research.
It's a long story, but I will
Uh-huh.
try to explain that to you the best way I can. My background is in bioengineering and computer engineering. I lived in UC in San Diego, California, where I did bioengineering, and then in Mexico City, where I'm from, I studied computer engineering. During my last year, I was doing my dissertation and I was working on deep learning and developed a system predicting the financial market, the Mexican stock market. So that seemed to have some positive and results that encouraged me to then learn more about investment management, about how is it that we come to make decisions to buy and sell stocks. I knew a bit more about the technology and AI, and I wanted to learn more about investment management. So I applied to a job that was advertised as head of innovation in what is now Citi. It was Banamex Axival at the time, and then merged with Citi. And so I went to the interview. It was like, they had already done about 53 interviews. They were about to close the position because they were not finding the right person. And I started then defining what interests me and how I could envisage applying AI to investment management. So I was hired on the spot. I also asked for twice the salary, which was also very positive, which I did get. And I started a very important journey because investment management, we also had the whole brokerage house, Axival, was the transactions were over 70% of the transactions in the country were passing through Axival. So a very important and large transaction, brokerage house, plus the bank, Banamex, which the brokerage house ended up buying the National Bank of Mexico. So we got that large. So there was quite a lot to learn, as you would imagine, for someone just becoming interested in investing. So I took that very seriously. I was working very hard. I remember on Sundays, we were in the financial district, and there was a church. And Sundays, there's masses every hour. And I could hear because I was there Saturdays and Sundays. So I knew all the guards and the cleaning staff and everybody. So I could hear the bells, which I still remember every hour of the church during Sunday night. But I was very happy to learn, as much as I could, to be able to discern how to apply. What I very quickly learned, well, just over a year, was that incremental changes are not enough for large organizations. There are very complex workflows in asset management, and asset managers are trying to improve them bit by bit on different fragments. These systems are legacy systems, are fragmented systems, some are new systems, but in essence, they are all disconnected. They have different teams working on them. So it's a very complex structure because asset managers and banks are kind of people-based businesses. They are not data-based, data-centric businesses. So the way they solve problems is just by hiring more and more people. So it just becomes slower and bigger. The problem becomes harder to solve. So I thought that we really needed a radical new approach to solve the problem and my interest was in automating the decision making. So I was just straight into how do we automate the workflows and how do people are making decisions to buy and sell stocks and bonds. So with that, I also quickly learned that I didn't know enough about AI to take that massive challenge. So
When was this? How long ago are we
It was
talking?
back in 1994, 95. Yes,
Okay.
1995. We had just gone through a major crisis in Mexico where interest rates went up over to over 105%. So here we complain about 5%, but imagine
Wow.
105.
Yeah.
People were losing their houses, their cars. They were giving us their deeds of their houses and cars because it was impossible to continue making payments with such large debt. So it was a major crisis. And so I came to this, I made a massive document, like a big Bible. It's called the Blue Book, where I basically span out every single process, starting from the front office to the middle office and the back office. And I then understood all of the flows throughout all of the floors and different teams. So that gave me an understanding of how one could solve this. And it had to be data centric and based in AI. So at the time, not many people were talking about AI applied in asset
That's
management.
why I asked how long ago it
Yes.
was. Yeah,
Yes.
everybody's talking about AI now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, it was that I proposed then to the CEO to send me on a journey to do a PhD in AI, to learn about AI, where I would then develop this automated decision system. The CEO said, what you're saying to us is almost like this is a trip to the moon. Yeah, what you're proposing us. We're handling, yeah, some people were like directors, have been directors for 10 years, and they're looking for 1 year masters in the US in business and MBA, but on AI, what is that? And 5 years is too long, too far. And so I said, look, no problem. I am going to put in my position 2 people to take my role because I could afford 2 with my salary. And I took 2 people from that were the year above in my university. And they joined the innovation. And then I just resigned. I got a scholarship. I was very happy I managed to get a scholarship, and I selected to come to the University of Edinburgh for its massive tradition in AI. It's world renowned. And I chose that over other options I had in the US. And then, therefore, yes, left my house, my car, my dog, my family, and came with a one-way ticket to Edinburgh to learn about developing about more about machine learning and developing this agent, this system. So this took me to the more learning journeys on traditional AI is not good. It has limitations for financial problems because the financial markets is in a constant flux of change. So basically, this non-stationary is a big problem with traditional AI systems. So for instance, a system can learn our faces, yeah, face recognition or traffic systems, because the roads are not changing directions very often, or our faces, right? So we don't suddenly become a cat or a giraffe. But financial markets do. They are one thing in one moment and then something entirely different the next millisecond or minute. So that challenge brought me then to go to the Santa Fe Institute, which is an institution in Santa Fe, New Mexico, specialized in complexity economics. And I was very interested in learning about Brian Arthur's economic views, about inductive ways of reasoning as opposed to deductive ways and traditional economics, classic economics, because that breaks down completely. So we need to assume that there is no complete knowledge about problems, and a number of kind of normal assumptions within traditional economics. And that then helped me to develop my own ideas and develop a multi-agent system of financial traders that were heterogeneous of different types, that were looking at different data, technical, fundamental, different market data. And then they were adapting their own behavior to these changes in the markets. So for instance, an agent might become very good when markets are going up, in rising markets. But then suddenly the markets start becoming zigzag or they start falling sharply. When those market regimes are changing and through inflection points, these agents then started to adapt their own behavior, knowing, oh, those strategies are no longer effective. I need to develop new strategies for these new conditions. So that turned out to be, so I had to bring a continuous learning concept into my PhD of AI. And I then graduated and then got, 40 research grants later. And from, institutions such as the UK Space Agency, the Innovate UK, Scottish Enterprise. So I got a large number of research grants and support, also from private investors, to a point when I got this support with over 170 million for this mission to basically develop an asset management that can, an operating system. So our solution is called what we do at level E, which is what all of this boils down to, my entire experience and all of these decades of work, it boiled down into having developed this operating system, so this unified agentic platform, AI platform, where we have many different types of agents. So as you clearly said, everybody's talking about AI, right? Agents these days. So having agents that are actually planning and orchestrating the entire workflows within asset management, not just for decision making of what to buy and sell, but once you have those signals that you want to buy a Tesla stock or whatever shares, then you have to convert those into orders. You need to have agents that understand how to execute those orders in the market, having proper execution strategies, and electronically, go via a fixed engine, go and execute those in the New York Stock Exchange, Paris, Madrid, anywhere in the world. So they go execute, they immediately receive the fields within milliseconds. The whole knowledge and data-centric approach is allowing us to basically have an integrated order management system, plus a portfolio management system and risk management system, reporting management system, also a mobile application that gives you real-time positioning of an exposures of your portfolio and any movements, any risks. So through the years, and through all of those different research grants, we basically integrated all of that into this unified platform that goes from the front office to all the way to the back office. So it only is all, apart from solving the decision making and finding those opportunities in the market, it also solves the operations. So if you look at asset managers currently, their biggest challenges are their cost income ratios are very high, over 85. This is widely reported. Also, we see that reports as well from PwC, 1 in 6 asset and wealth managers are basically are facing insolvency by next year because of these challenges. They have so many legacy systems, fragmented systems, such high costs that they simply cannot deliver active management at a passive price. I don't know if you're aware of active management, making active decisions, and then at a passive price is just following an index, tracking an index like an S&P 500 index. So we see, which has also been recently reported by the FCA, we see that over 20 billion are leaving every year of capital from the UK retail market is leaving the UK and is going into the giant US passive managers, the trackers. So I find that very sad, I find that the industry in a deep crisis, and our objective is to help and support asset managers with this platform basically that can solve both of those problems. On one side, we see that 90% of active fund managers are underperforming consistently their benchmarks. So I cannot express hard enough how important this is, because this means that your pension, mine, our children's trusts, our savings are basically constantly eroding, performance, reducing their value, such that, as also reported by the FCA, between 25 and 30% of our pension is what we will be losing. We will be losing from our pension, over our lifetime, just for 1% of fund fees or underperformance. So if you think that the asset management industry is not just talking about the 1% of fees, but also several percent of underperformance. So our pensions are basically suffering significantly. So we have developed this platform, and we have, I got support, back in 2010 by Bailey Gifford. I was very lucky to be supported and to have met partners at Bailey Gifford, who then supported me to launch a fund. And I launched a European fully regulated investment structure. And I launched basically the very first fully autonomous fund in the world.
Wow.
Yes, so it's all agentic. And we had from 2010 to 2013, we were at the same time as trading the fund, We were with the automated decision making, but there were many other areas that had to be also automated. So we had to go through all of the prime brokers. You have auditors, you have administrators. So yeah, funds are highly regulated entities. So we had to go through the entire workflow and all of the service providers and automate that. So in 2013, I was very happy to launch the same fund, but in a fully autonomous form. And it has been trading since then. By 2018, which is when I launched towards the end of 2018, I launched Level E Research. That was the point when I thought, okay, how are we performing against all of these multi-billion fund and asset managers and multi-billion funds who also have multi-million budgets, right? And sometimes dozens or over 10, different portfolio managers in their teams managing these large portfolios on multi-asset, low volatility, which are very important for pensions. And so I was, to my surprise, looking at all of the peers from these large managers. I saw that we had not just performed as well as these very large managers, but we had actually outperformed all of these managers that I had been working on closely over the years. So I was very pleased with that, and that then motivated me to launch Level E Research to scale the platform, the investment management as a service, unified agentic platform, and to be able to then to scale the operations. Yes, so that's where we are.
So now your platform, you're selling that service to other asset managers.
Exactly. So we are a fintech, a pure play AI fintech, and we have a vertical SaaS, yes, software as a service, a vertical business model where we B2B. So we basically partner with asset managers who are regulated, and we can then, depending on what areas they want to work on and optimize with our agents, we then partner with them. So one that has been quite widely known is our partnership with Baillie Gifford. Originally, obviously, with Baillie Gifford, the Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust, which helped us to launch this fully autonomous fund, still in operation. But then on the operations side, in 2024, you might have heard of FinTech Scotland. They launched this FRIL, the Financial Regulation Innovation Lab, which is a competition, highly competitive, by the way, where large banks like Morgan Stanley, Aberdeen, asset managers, they pose their most complex problems. And so I was very interested in the problem that Aberdeen posted, the head of compliance UK at Aberdeen, Anthony Brooks. And it was about basically all of their trades of large asset managers. They have hundreds of funds, active funds, but orders are aggregated. So with the regulator, obviously you need to have fairness to your clients, to all clients. It's a complex problem where from every trade, you need to discern which funds have been grouped, have been part of a trade, and if any fund has been missing, which might then indicate that there might be unfairness to a particular client of that fund. So that is called side-by-side or trade order aggregation. So we started the competition. We won the competition. We were very happy to win that competition and to work in our solution, which we had to show our solution months later. And very kindly, Aberdeen invited other 4 or 5 very large asset managers, and they were all equally impressed with the solution. So this is just within compliance. So as I was saying, because we had a complete set of fully operational agents across like data agents, portfolio management agents, risk management agents, compliance agents, and reporting. So basically what we took was we just took out of the fully integrated structure of the platform, we took the compliance agent. We just called it ACA. ACA because ACA means AI compliance agent, but sounds like Laika was the first dog that went to the moon. And so we launched that ACA product, which is the compliance agent, in partnership with Aberdeen. And basically, we then integrated that to the client's own data providers, basically their own order management systems. The two largest ones in the market are Aladdin and Charles River. We can basically hook into any other. Taking this trade data, very large sets of millions and millions of trades, our agents are able to learn trade behavior, but they also add the intent. And we have been working over the past, over 10 years in fully explainable AI systems. Because to us, AI is nothing if it cannot explain its behaviors and its decisions. So we have put a lot of research into explainability. And with that, we have basically a compliance system that is finding market abuse and market conduct behaviors, such as you might have heard of insider trading, portfolio pumping, front running, all of these different behaviors, which are very complex behaviors to analyze from trade data. But because we have also worked for over 10 years in our massive digital twin of the financial market, for people who might not be familiar with what a digital twin is just basically is just a digital copy of some systems. So the Apollo 13, we saw the movie, they were basically brought back safely, and it was all thanks to a digital twin of of all of their kind of rocket and conditions. So we have a digital twin of the entire financial market with over 20 years of granular data that begins at the tick level of prices, volume. We also have fundamental data, economic data, financial data. We have derivative data in terms of asset classes, equities, bonds, FX as well. We have cryptos, fixed income, and even satellite data. We won a UK space agency award. We had a over half a million project in 2025. And we basically can integrate anything from satellite data to market data through this digital twin. So Connectica basically connects into this digital twin the order management, the trade data from the client, plus the market data that we have been completing, and in our massive kind of data sets, we process over 150 billion data points per day. Our agents, do that. And so that basically gave us a very nice compliance agent product that is just completely focused on the buy side. So just on asset managers, because many of the leading trade surveillance systems are focusing on the sell side, which includes prime brokers, banks. So they just basically do a ton of things that are not needed by asset managers, and they do not use particular asset management information. So many of these alerts generated about compliance cannot be explained or are not suitable for the buy side. So we've been working with the regulators as well. So it has been a really good, very interesting couple of the two last years, because we have developed a problem that actually solves a particular, we have developed a system that solves a particular problem by the buy side, and this is applicable to the entire buy side. They all need to have compliance and regulation, right? So they all need to submit and monitor their compliance, because the fines are getting huge. The regulatory, absolutely. Just J Street just was fined $500 million by the SEC just recently. We saw here Aviva was fined 17 million pounds by the FCA. We are seeing, these fines are quite important. And it's not just the fine, but it's the reputational risk, the outflows of assets. Franklin also had a recent fine as well. So it becomes quite challenging, and our systems are able to do this. But integrating all of this kind of intelligence, agents, AI, explainability, digital twin, and bringing all of that together to be able to offer solutions that are really hitting those pain points.
I think you've explained it really well, and because when you started, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not sure I know enough about, but I could ask lots more questions. It's really fascinating, and how you can impact what's going on, and it's an area that affects all of us, but very few of us actually know how it's done and how.
Exactly.
So it's fascinating. But
and if you think of people with ISA, with their ISAs accounts, right? So we have our governments doing some very nice tax wrappers for ISAs and SIP accounts, and yet very people know what to do with their capital there. So sometimes it's just uninvested, and they don't know how to actively invest this. So we also have a Pathfinder strategy that is basically a strategy for life. So it just follows your life, your entire working life, as you are changing circumstances. Some people might have gone through challenges, right? Health, funerals, or weddings, or like doing extensions in their homes. So their wealth and their savings are changing constantly under circumstances. Yet the traditional wealth and asset management will just put you in boxes of 60-40, 60% equity, 40% bonds. And we're there. However, then you see that you have this bond to protect your portfolio, but when markets drop, these accounts drop in the same way. But when
Yeah.
the markets recover, they don't recover at the same. Plus then all of the additional fees of running these investment solutions, then it just makes it very expensive for people. So we have over 9 million in our inhabitants within the UK that are not being given any financial advice currently. So the regulators are trying to make it easier for asset managers to be able to provide, because they have less than, they only have a few million or less, in terms of their funds. So yes, so these are adults that are underserved in the market, and we can basically provide the technology to wealth and asset managers to allow them to provide these effective services where you can have that alpha, basically the performance element, the alpha, but also the efficiency of the operations run fast. And so it's basically smarter, faster, and cheaper. The three things you would like to have, and it's fully explainable. And also because it's super regulated, it's all completely followed by complete audit trails. So every decision is explained and also audited.
So tell me, you've explained the products very well. Tell me about your business. So obviously that a lot of years and years of research and
Yes.
investment to get to a point where you've got something that you know works, and then you've gone out to market and you're now selling it to customers. Was it difficult to get into the market, or was the market ready for it? Because it's quite a game-changing technology, isn't it?
It is, yes. Look, it is very difficult. That's one of the things I would be grateful for ChatGPT, because before ChatGPT, most people didn't know about AI. But then AI became known. Even though we had it in our phones and we had it everywhere, it just people became aware of what AI was. When we then, when OpenAI basically developed this AI that can talk, right?
Yeah.
A large language model that can talk to people, and then you're like, oh my God, there's AI and it's just talking. So integrating this talking part, this large language model into our technology, obviously is part of our infrastructure. But it was difficult. It was very challenging to go and talk to asset managers because very few could actually forward thinkers.
I'm guessing they were going, oh, this is going to take our jobs.
Yes. So when you see that, for instance, sometimes when I talk to portfolio managers, they immediately put a wall because they think, oh, my job is at risk. This is going to take my job. But I have been very lucky to have met through introductions from FinTech Scotland and different conferences and organizations. So one of the people, David Macmillan, was the head of innovation in M&G a few years ago. He was one of the first, the best people I've ever met, because he had a really good sense of the future, and we completely aligned in their needs, what he was working towards, and what we were solving. So he said, this is no longer a proof of concept. This is fully ready for scalability, and we are ready to scale this. So I got support back in 22. M&G invested in Level E Research, so they are one of our shareholders. But we also launched a 130 million fund with the With Profit Fund capital. So With Profit Fund is the Prudential. You might be aware of the Prudential within M&G, the insurance capital. And we launched the AI Smart US Fund. A fund, again, we devised that according to their constraints and objectives. We co-devised it, engineered that with them. And then we launched that on a pilot for 18 months. It was very valuable to see how these agents could actually work on the portfolio construction and risk and every move within the portfolio. So they had to learn how this works. So we have been progressing with them on this. With large organizations, you also have the problem of people leaving and retiring. So unfortunately, David had to retire and due to some health and personal reasons. However, we are continuing to work with M&G and is still our own shareholder. But this just gives you the idea of how challenging this is. You need to find first the individuals that can see the future and how this actually works and understand it. Then we have to move from there on through all the different layers of the organization. And then we have to go through massive periods of due diligence. Yeah, we passed due diligence with M&G. It lasted literally 1 year. My due diligence with Bailey Gifford was, again, many years ago, 11 months and 20 days. So you have to show that you have the processes, the explainability, the AI, and that everything makes sense, right? And that you can trust the AI
Yeah.
because humans are basically are overseeing the entire process. And the important thing is we shouldn't be afraid of AI because the roles and the responsibilities of asset managers are not changing. Yeah, the portfolio manager is still the portfolio manager, and the risk manager is still the risk manager for the FCA and in the eyes of every stakeholder. But instead of spending their time in all of these manual tasks and reporting, which is where most people spend their time, just like our GPs, they spend most of their time just typing and filling in forms.
Yeah.
Everybody is in the same situation. So what we're providing is just basically the means to compute not just simple manual tasks, but also the most complex tasks, which is handling, yeah, non-stationarity of financial markets for prediction, for forecasting, but also compliance and reporting. Yeah, yeah, there are many.
Those are the messages that you need to get across to the
Correct.
customer.
So we're now
Yeah.
scaling, trying to scale.
Uh-huh.
Correct. And we then need to now, right now, is like raising awareness, which is
Yeah.
why this is my very first, hopefully, one of many more podcasts to basically tell the world that we are here. We have an amazing technology at a technology readiness level of 8, TRL 8. So we're 9 is 8 out of 9 because 9 is basically is just that massive scalability.
Yeah.
So we have de-risked completely the technology by investing over 10 million in just the development since level E research in our tech. And now is now acquiring clients and scaling our technology. So having these large clients like Aberdeen became our first client. So we're very happy with that. We also won the Scottish Financial Technology Awards last year with collaboration with Aberdeen. So you just have to work 100 times harder to get there because you're a smaller company. Yes, you don't have the large clientele that other legacy system providers have. And we just need to, basically face
But
those challenges.
you're so close. Like you're like 3 feet from gold, aren't you? Like this, we're talking 30 years of work.
Yes, absolutely.
Did
Which
you
no one
always
else has.
know? Did you always know this was where you were aiming for?
Yes, since my times at Citi, of course, I wanted to automate the decision making, use data, AI, and the whole workflows, which is now where I am.
Mhm.
Funnily enough, a few years back, I went back to see the people that I left there, and they were now directors, they were all the way up. And I said, what's happened? How are things going? And they said, nothing really. Things are the same. We've been merging with Citi, things pretty much are the same. And then that was the point when I realized, look, me as an aunt, yeah, a woman alone with a mission of trying to do something good that I thought would be good and I was interested in, could be could have a massive impact in the world, even if you're just on your own. It took me less time on my own to start this entire journey on my own. Of course, I have amazing teams of 20 people, massive, very talented PhDs in machine learning and scientists working with me. However, it all began with a single person, yes, that single ant. But you have to then see it in the context that over time and not stopping and being determined, you can really achieve your mission and your objectives and your wishes, even though they seemed like a trip to the moon, as I was told many years ago.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was at a networking thing this morning, and it was somebody from a charity was talking, and she was talking about the power of one. like that one person, I've just flipped back to my notes, that one person can make a difference. And
Yes,
yeah, and here I meet you who's, yeah, all your career working towards something that's going to be really impactful globally, I
I
think.
hope so. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We just need to keep the support. Yes. I have also another very important support from other advisors like Ewan Monroe. He was basically the architect of GARS, the Standard Life. It was the largest, it got to a 50 billion in size. Yeah, one of the largest actually, asset managed multi-asset funds in the UK. I met him back in 2013, but I wanted to get my own track record and I kept working on that. But he's very involved. He then became the CEO of Aviva Investors and then the CEO of also Newton Investment Management. He has now left and he's now putting all his time and dedication into our company. He's
Oh,
our director and our largest individual investor.
but that comes up a lot in these conversations actually, is to
Yes,
bring the right people on board
exactly,
with you. And like
exactly.
over all these years, have there been times when you've brought the wrong people in and you had to let them go again? Or how do you learn who's the right people?
Do you mean for an advisory or investor or
Staff
the
or
level
advisors or
team?
investors, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, definitely we have had some, yes, very good advisors. Yeah, another one is Alan McFarlane. Yeah, he was the CEO of Walter Scott, got it from to being from 3 billion in assets to over 33, sold it to Mellon, now the Bank of New York. He is also involved with our work. He has been my mentor since I was in the fellow in the Royal Society of Edinburgh. And I usually meet people and I work with people for life. That has been very important for me. When I see that something doesn't work or someone is not aligned with the objectives, then I just walk away. Yeah, very quickly. There's always a point when, yeah, whether people who have worked with us in the company or not, then at some point you just realize this is not working. So you have to also be very tough sometimes. I was known through some lawyers that I recently met. They said that you are known for having fired 12 lawyers. And it is true. We had a deadline with when we were negotiating an option agreement with Bailey Gifford back in 2009. I had my lawyer moved to Brody's and he had a garden leave. So I work, as I said, I work forever with someone. So my lawyer, who helped me since my PhD to protect the IP of my PhD and all that, he was unable to work those 6 months. So we had to hire, work with the same legal firm. And there was a point when 12 lawyers were involved. I said to the other lawyers, we will have this ready by Tuesday. And the lawyer said, we will never have this ready by Tuesday. And I said, okay, you don't think so? Fine. So I fired them all, hired other lawyers, and we got it done by Tuesday. So when I say that something will be ready on a day, it means that it will be, unless a catastrophic event I have not had before, locally. But I think having that commitment and that trust is quite important. Yeah, we have to be
Oh,
tough. We have to keep on going, and we have to deliver the outcomes. So execution is very important in our business.
I think there's a big learning there though. So the lawyers, everybody tends to look up to them. They've got the knowledge, they've got skills
Yeah.
that the AI, how AI is going to affect their business. That's a whole another half-hour conversation. We don't have time for that today. But you know that when usually it's them that are calling the shots, and you've gone,
Yes.
no, what this needs to
Yes.
happen, and if you can't make it happen, I'll find someone else who can. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people in business don't have the balls to do that. The balls. That's the wrong choice on this
So,
on this
yes,
podcast. But
yes, absolutely.
so yeah,
True. Yes.
yeah.
So yes, we've gone through many challenges. I couldn't even tell you when my son was born. It was, yeah, it's just, yeah. Some stories that also women, this might apply just for women, of course, these additional challenges that we have.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if you might be interested on this little.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
tell
Okay.
me. Tell
So,
me.
so my youngest son is just turned 17 in February last month. And I was just remembering the circumstances of how he was born. So yes, I was negotiating these things with Bailey Gifford, etc. We basically, I had to put together a funding round very quickly. So we were on the 24th of February, and as February is shorter, so it had 28 days on that year, February. I had to pay salaries, and we had no money to pay salaries. So I am fully pregnant. I get when you because I do not dilate, so I had to get because in my previous it was emergency C-section, so they said you cannot have a normal delivery. We have to plan this C-section. So they gave me a date when I had a meeting with an investor here in Edinburgh in George Street, a brilliant person, Joe Phillips. I must mention his name because I'm so grateful for him. So I go and I meet him in the morning. So I postpone my C-section and I go and meet him in the morning. And boy, I'm like drinking coffee and water. And we finish the meeting. He's okay, fine, I'll go ahead and put my investment. So I was like dying to go to the toilet. He very kindly tells me all the way to the door. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't go to say I need to go to the toilet. So I go to my car and then I start driving. And then I stopped in Victor Hugo by the Meadows. It's a deli. So I parked the car there and I said, I'm going to buy a soup because I haven't eaten anything. It was nearly lunchtime. And I'm going to buy a soup and go to the toilet because I was just dying to go to the toilet with all the water. So I go to the toilet and then suddenly I see that I'm bleeding. So I'm quite concerned. I ring emergency, I ring the number, and then they said, look, you are in contractions. You might be on contractions. Is the baby moving? So I said, yes, the baby is moving. I can feel the moves. So I had to then, I got the soup. They said, prepare to go to the hospital because you are in contractions. So I started obviously feeling the pain as well. But they said, it's not necessarily risky that you are bleeding. And I said, but I didn't bleed in my other two boys. So they said, fine, just keep an eye that the baby's moving. But I had to go back to the office. So I go back to the office. We are in King's Buildings, in the engineering building. I go to the office with the team and I had to put together the package because I had to get a meeting with Scottish Enterprise aligned because they were going to match the investment from the private investor that I just got the go ahead with. And they gave me the meeting. So it was a Tuesday. It was the 23rd of February that day. And I had to get the meeting. So I saw the meeting on the 26th of February. And I had to work until 7 p.m. and then finish the whole pack, got everything ready, and then I told the team, I'm going to have to go straight to the hospital because I'm in heavy contractions by now. I might not see you tomorrow, but I'll see you later. So I called my husband on the way back and I said, yeah, you have to take me to the hospital. Can you please he had to arrange the babies to be, we don't have a family here. Yeah. So he asked our neighbors to take care of our boys who were like 3 and 4, two boys. And then I arrived home. He takes me to the hospital and we're there from 8 p.m. and then all the way to about 3:30, 4 a.m. Full contractions, but the baby what if this one comes naturally? And it definitely was not coming naturally. So they said, we need to do an emergency C-section again. So here I go to the emergency C-section. The baby's born all fine. I've got my phone that my husband had bought for me. And I'm like answering and arranging things. With a C-section, they do not allow you to go home until 48 hours later. So 12 hours, I'm like,
But you've got a meeting.
I have a meeting, but all the women in the guard, they were like really literally screaming because it's quite painful. There's a few layers of your own body that the cuts. And because it's emergency, they have to sew very quickly to stitch everything. So it's quite painful. And then you got the baby, you haven't slept for 2 days in a row. So it's challenging. But I didn't want to take any painkillers because I knew that if I take painkillers and you don't know where the pain is coming from, you might just move more than you should. Or you might be bleeding as well. So anyway, I didn't take any painkillers after the epidural that they gave me during the surgery. And I asked them to basically let me go home before the 48 hours. And they said, this is really unheard of. And I said, look, I'm fine. I just need to go home. I'll be okay. And they then let me go a few hours before that. Went home. And then the next day, here I am. I had to bring another investor in. So I met him, Sir Peter Burt. He had been the CEO of the Bank of Scotland and an amazing person. So he agrees to meet me in the canteen at the Swan building in King's Buildings. So we meet in the office and then we go to the canteen and where I used to eat. So I have a black suit. I go there with him. We get our food. And the girl, because she used to give me a lot more food, she looks at me and says, "Hey, where's the baby?" And I'm like, he didn't know. My other investor didn't know because he had just seen me on that day and he had not seen that I was pregnant through the pregnancy because obviously you had to be discreet. So I said, "Oh, yes, the baby was born just the day before yesterday and he's at home, he's well and fine. We're all fine. He's a boy." And so my investor said, Sir Peter turned to me and said, "What did she just say?" I said, "Yes, I just had a baby." And he said, "No, really?" And I said, "Yes, absolutely." So anyway, so I was there back to work, yeah, with a healthy baby, support from a nanny we had to get because there's no insurances that take nurseries. And these are the challenges you have to go through. But I was very happy that by the Friday, which was the 28th of February of 2009, I had money to pay the salaries.
Oh,
And no one knew. And these are things that you have to go through and your team doesn't know because the last
why
thing you can.
like that women have to do that, Sonia,
Yes,
is that you
yes.
had to pretend that
You
that you're not a mammal, a female
absolutely.
mammal, if you like. Like
Yeah.
it's just yeah,
It is challenging. Then obviously I had to do every night, yeah, all of the night shift with the baby, still the day shifts at work. So you just learn to sleep, yeah, 3 4 hours a day for months and months. And I had to follow up. I always followed a really nice routine, a book from Gina Ford of Contented Little Babies. And so it just gives you routines of how you can increase their night times, their sleeping, and in a very healthy way and disciplined. So I was, yeah, very disciplined on that. And my
so
husband obviously supporting incredibly with the boys.
did you manage to take time off then? Obviously not in
No, no,
February,
no.
but
No, since then I have not taken any holidays since then. This is really hard work. We cannot not say it. It's very hard work. We have to be committed. If you want to see results, you just have to be there. So after those things, really challenges that other people might think are real challenges, are not really big challenges. Yeah.
yeah,
As long as you are alive and keep yourself healthy, I tend to be very disciplined with, yeah, my nutrition, yeah, exercise, and that's really the only way that I can manage on a consistent basis to work 80 to 100-hour weeks, like nonstop.
yeah.
But we are scaling, we're getting funding, and hopefully we will be able to have more people grow, and I'll be able to delegate more and be dedicated more to, yeah, to raising awareness, growing company, and not necessarily involved in day-to-day tasks
Yeah.
running the company. So with more support internally, yeah, look forward to this new stage of scaling up, yeah, the company.
So that story and like all that you've done, anyone listening might be thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm not willing to give as much as you've given." Do
I
you?
know. Yes, this
Yeah.
is a very important point. Look, one day, because I felt, for instance, many women, which I totally agree with, many women, they choose to leave work and dedicate fully to their babies, where they're born up to the way up to when they go to uni or high school. I always had that thought. And I asked my children, would you have preferred if I had not worked? Yeah. And they've all said, absolutely not. I'm very proud of what you have been doing. I'm very happy to see that you're driven and you like what you do. They say I would pay to do what I do, which I would. Yeah, I don't need to get paid. I would pay to do it. But it's important because I thought that they would somehow, yeah. But they were extremely happy in the nursery. All of these exercises they do in nurseries, like all this sand and the cooking, it's just things that at home you can't. As a
Yeah.
mom, you have to be tidying up. So you really don't dedicate the time, the quality time, either to your children, even if you sometimes if you're full-time, a full-time
Mhm.
mom, because of
Yeah.
the things around the house, right? Yes, so it was very comforting for me to see that my children are fully on board with growing up the way we grew up, right? We all learned and they're very proud of, yes, what we do. So it's nice, yes.
Have they got that same drive, that same,
Oh boy.
yeah?
I think so. Yes, yes, they do. My two older ones are university. They're both studying computer science. The oldest one is at Edinburgh University doing electronics and computer science. And the other one, 1 year younger, is at Watt doing computer science as well. And the youngest is in hires this year. He's 17. So he wants to do something like finance, economics. Yeah, more like economics. That's the sort of thing he's liking. But yes, they are very driven. They love video games. They know everything about video games. Languages, I don't even know. All these things they speak about is as if they have their own language. But yes, they are very active.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that you're quite an inspiration to them, Sonia.
Yes, and my husband, look,
What a role model.
without the support from my husband, I would have never done anything like this. He's been supporting me. He also had to give up his own job. He works with us here. He's quite experienced, and but he helps me a lot with the kids. Yeah, so he picks them up. He takes them to all the rugby matches and everything. And while I'm like working on weekends and things like that, and then I also the cold. I don't go because it's very cold for me to be outdoors, but I do go. I go to some of those events. But yes, he's just fantastic with the kids, yeah, and at work as well, yeah, in the house, all the support. So I think that as long as everybody is supportive of each other, you can work things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a story. Yeah, I'm blown away, and I'm sure the listeners will be too. Sonia, we've run out, in fact, we've gone over time.
My
So,
God,
yeah,
yes.
it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, could have listened all day. I'm sure you have many more stories to share. Thank you very much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure. And I hope that, yes, women can continue. There's a lot of women, yeah, starting their own companies, knowing and believing that they can do it. And this is very encouraging to see.
Yes, I agree. And thank you to the
Your
listeners for
efforts are
listening.
important, yes, on this. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me, Brenda.
Thank you. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
to the listeners for listening. Thanks for listening to Skill
Thank
Her
you.
Up.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and leave a review. It helps more female business owners find us. Come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to get support, accountability, and connection with women who get it. And remember, only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are still 5 times more likely to scale their business beyond £1 million in turnover than women. If we started and scaled our businesses to the same extent as men, we'll add £250 billion to the UK economy and create millions of jobs. Ladies, you can do it, and your business can make a massive difference.